Good morning, Corpus Christi, Coastal Bend listeners worldwide. Welcome on in to another edition of the Sunday Sports Rush right here on News Talk KEYS 1440 AM and 98.7 FM. I am back. Daddy is back in the big chair. Daddy is feeling excellent this morning, coming off my illness. I am James Espinosa, and as you heard back there playing the crickets, we have Adin Ducker behind the glass producing and co-hosting.
What's Gucci with it?
We got Alex Weister here in the studio with us as well, part of the triumvirate this morning of the Sunday Sports Rush. I am back, and first and foremost, let me just shout out these two gentlemen in here because these guys held it down last week and broadcasted at a high efficiency level, NBA Finals-like, Nikola Jokic-like broadcasting level last weekend. So thank you guys.
Two of the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, thank you guys for holding it down. I appreciate y'all. I am back, though, so get in on the text line, 361-882-5397.
I am misclicked. I meant to press, that.
It's okay. You know what? I'm back. We're misfiring. We're laughing. We're having a good time. 361-882-5397. Get in on the text line. Say what's up this morning. Let me know where you're listening from on this beautiful Sunday morning we have here in Corpus Christi. Coming up here in the first hour at 9:50, we have the return of WTF. Zion, bro, Zion. Yikes.
I'm looking through this woman's Twitter, and I can't find a tweet that she hasn't added or talked about him in the past 20 hours.
So we will dive into the Zion controversy with his side piece and baby mama at 9:50 in WTF.
Man, I'm shocked.
We might also give our thoughts on baby Gronk as well during WTF. At 9:30, we got some Astros news, some Rangers news and notes, some Major League Baseball to get to. At 9:20, we have some sports news. LIV Golf and PGA merged. I will try to surmise that as best as I can for you, the listening audience, and give you my takes on that. We also got some other stories in the 920 news. But right now, I would like to say something. Shout out to Crossroads Clinical Research. They are back sponsoring the show. Jerry Plemons and company. Let's go, baby. We're officially sponsored again. Crossroads Clinical Research. Thank y'all guys for sponsoring the show. Of course, we'll be shouting y'all guys out throughout the remainder of the show. So we appreciate y'all, Jerry Plemons and company, for sponsoring the Sunday Sports Rush.
Man, that sponsored show, sleep hit different, man.
It does. It honestly hits different. When I drove here this morning and I was like, hey, we're sponsored again. I just had like a little bit more extra pep in my step. Felt good. Hey, and you know what? This is an open invite to anybody who might have a business out there. If you want in on this, baby, let me know. Let us know. We're willing to accept any and all sponsors for the Sunday Sports Rush. Right now, guys, let's go ahead. Hard transition because I want to talk a little bit of Cowboys. It's been a while. I know y'all guys a couple of weeks ago were like, Cowboys OTAs, who gives a damn?
I'm still like that.
This is the one thing that I was taught from my professor down at Texas A&M University Kingsville, Dr. Don Fisher. He told me this, as a radio guy, play the hits. And you know what? We're the home of the Cowboys.
But you're not playing the hits.
Let's play the hits. The people want Cowboys news, and I'm going to deliver. So this is what happened this past week.
A la Nick Wright. Anyway, go ahead.
This is what happened this past week at Cowboys minicamp up in Frisco at the Star. The Cowboys concluded minicamp, OTAs, rookie OTAs, all that crap. And Dak Prescott went into detail on the Mike McCarthy offense. They actually have dubbed it. It's not the West Coast offense. It is now the quote-unquote Texas Coast offense.
Okay.
Interesting. Dak Prescott ended up saying that Mike McCarthy has simplified everything for him and the weapons around him to maximize everyone's strengths. Here's Dak Prescott talking about what Mike McCarthy has done so far to the offense and how he's feeling about the offense. Dak Prescott said, I think I'm in a good spot. I feel like when you have Mike McCarthy as open as he is about communicating, about making sure what I like and what I feel great about, it's been easy to master what I'm good at. I feel great about the things we put in, and what we've done. The offense, according to reports, has created a unique layer that the quarterback room has coined as the Texas Coast offense, with its combination of horizontal concepts that open up the opposing defense with tempo, pace, and concepts that have worked for the team in years past. So McCarthy, I guess, adding some more horizontal stuff, trying to get guys open. Hopefully Mike McCarthy doesn't have routes where all 4 wide receivers are running curls beneath the first down stick. Hopefully that doesn't happen again, like the way we saw in the playoffs against the 49ers the past couple of years when Kellen Moore couldn't scheme a wide receiver open to save his life.
Now, I do have to ask, is there any more news on Hunter Lupke?
You know what? There actually is. He was taking some second team snaps. He was in the mix, kind of like that H-back, fullback, because the Cowboys don't, under Mike McCarthy's Cowboys, they don't traditionally use a fullback. They kind of use like a H-back, kind of like a hybrid of a running back, fullback, tight end. And he's been doing some work like that. Goal line situations.
That's sort of what he fits anyway. I mean, when you look at him, a lot of the comps he got coming out of college was like Kyle Juszczyk, which is pretty much what Kyle Juszczyk is.
So like a lot of, goal line, short yardage, a lot of catching passes out of the backfield. That's kind of how Lupke's been utilized so far through the early portion of OTAs and minicamp. So pretty interesting. The pace of play has been a note from Cowboys reporters out there, that the pace has been a theme that has stood out. That the Cowboys are moving a little bit faster. The Cowboys are trying to get a lot more plays run than they typically would. And Dak Prescott actually had a quote on the pace of play. Here's Dak Prescott. Prescott says, "When you can change your pace, you're going to catch the defense off guard. You want as many at-bats, so we'll try to get as many plays as we can, as many chances to make big plays. Lastly, we want to be the aggressors. We want to attack these guys and push the tempo. We want to make sure that we're dictating the pace and being the aggressors so the team is on our pace and not theirs." You notice the word pace.
Buckle up, buckaroo.
Exactly. The Mike McCarthy Texas Coast offense. 361-882-5397. Let me know your thoughts on the Cowboys this morning. How do you feel after minicamp, after OTAs? Because the next time we see the Dallas Cowboys, ladies and gentlemen, will be training camp. The next time the Cowboys have an organized practice as a franchise will be in late July, Oxnard, California, training camp. We're kind of getting there, guys.
Indeed, we are.
We're kind of in that final stretch run, those dog days of summer where we could see the light at the end of the tunnel. That NFL training camp is right there. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I am pumped.
You want to know what else that means?
What's up?
Texas high school football's around the corner.
Yes, indeed. Football, 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 football. I love it. 361-882-5397. Get your thoughts in on the Cowboys. So, I just found this interesting that obviously the Cowboys are out here trying to pump up what Mike McCarthy's doing. Everybody's talking great about what Mike McCarthy is implementing, what him and Brian Schottenheimer are trying to do to this offense. Now, Brian Schottenheimer, who is the offensive coordinator in name, he's not the play caller, but he is the offensive coordinator. He said that this new offense is only about 30% different, that they still kept about 70% of the old offensive playbook to keep some continuity with Dak Prescott and the guys who have been there for a long time, keep some of the same verbiage, etc., that they've added about 30% of a new offense. It's not a whole revamp. It's just more of a restructuring. It's more of a reorganization to try and make this offense more efficient. And we'll see what happens with that.
And I would imagine that they'll probably add in more and more as the season goes on. And eventually, if the crew stays together in terms of the coaching staff going into next year, we'll probably see likely maybe 20% of that playbook back as they just start to phase it out more and more and start to build their own offense again.
And that makes sense. You don't want to necessarily throw the whole thing out and have your, first team, second team, third team offense have to learn a 100% new playbook. If you're smart, like you said, Alex, if Mike McCarthy and them are smart, they'll add it in phases. And so far, 30% of the offense has been added. An interesting note that occurred at minicamp, the Cowboys on Tuesday, during their first minicamp practice, unveiled their offensive line combination. Tyron Smith was starting at left tackle. Tyler Smith was starting at left guard. That was the most interesting note because we know that Tyler Smith, the rookie last year, started the majority of his playing time at left tackle. We know that Tyron Smith spends the majority of the time on the injured list.
At least half the year.
At least half the year. And I actually did some research on this. It's inevitable. I hate to say this, but guys, Tyron Smith is going to miss some games this season. He hasn't started a full season since 2015. He has missed a combined 45 games since 2015. And in the last 3 seasons alone, he has missed a combined 32 games, which is about 2 seasons worth.
This is just what you see from those older offensive linemen.
He's not even that old. I mean, he's played a lot of years, but he's still, like 31?
Something like that. But he's long in the tooth in terms of NFL.
And that's when you start to really see a tail off, though. I mean, some of these offensive linemen can play till they're, 40? But it doesn't mean they can stay healthy that entire time.
I said a couple of years ago that this year was probably going to be Tyron Smith's last year.
I mean, it's coming up. It's inevitable.
At least the next couple seasons.
I would say for sure in the next 2. But my thing about this is the Cowboys are going into the season, once again, just with hope that Tyron Smith can stay healthy. We're just hoping he can stay healthy. Do we have a serviceable backup? Well, right now the swing tackle looks to be Matt Waletzko.
I mean, say I've heard of him before.
He's a backup. Last year was his rookie season, but this year he's expected to be the swing tackle just in case Tyron Smith goes down, which all indications are he will go down at some point. To me, the Cowboys are always, let's hope he stays healthy. Let's hope Michael Gallup can come back from his ACL in time. Let's hope he can be the player he once was. Did that work last year? No. The Cowboys operate on hope instead of having a concrete backup plan at times.
Well,
and that's the thing that gets me very upset about this franchise.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt there. That seems to be the case with every NFL team. And I'll use my Saints as a case in point as well. It seems like the entire past, 3 years now, we've hoped our wide receivers will stay healthy, but they haven't. We have not had great health either. It just comes with the territory. That's all you really can do is hope. You don't have unlimited money. You don't have unlimited pull in terms of bringing in players. It's just how it is. Sometimes you just have to hope and hope it pans out and maybe even hope that a backup can play.
Yeah, and you know what? Terrence Steele was once that backup.
Indeed he was.
Who inserted himself into the starting lineup, of the offensive line, and now he's made himself into a perennial starter.
And when is he going to come back?
That's another question mark because he has an ACL, and the Cowboys are hoping he could be ready for training camp to be the starting right tackle. We saw that last year with Michael Gallup. Did it work? No. I doubt he'll be ready for training camp, Terrence Steele. I doubt he'll be ready by mid-season. I don't know. The biggest question mark to me for the Dallas Cowboys heading into the 2023 season is not the new offense. It's not Dak Prescott and his ability to protect the football. It is the Cowboys' offensive line and who's going to be the starting 5 and who's going to be healthy. 361-882-5397. Get in on the text line. Let me know your thoughts on the Cowboys this morning. Are you confident in that offensive line? Are you confident in Tyron Smith? Let me know. 361-882-5397. When we come back, we got the 920 news. The Saudis apparently own golf. We're going to try and surmise that as best we can, and we'll give our takes on the whole situation. The 920 news is coming up after the break. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 120. James, Aiden, and Alex with you till 11 a.m. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll take a look at the Astros and the Rangers because the Rangers, oh goodness, they're red hot. But they also suffered a big setback with one of their prized free agent acquisitions. Yeah. So we'll dive into that in about 15 minutes' time. Make sure you keep it locked. Right now, though, shout out to Crossroads Clinical Research. If you are looking to lose a few pounds, then pay attention. Our friend of the show, Jerry, over at Crossroads Research, has an exciting new study involving a pill version of an amazing medication called Mounjaro. Crossroads is currently looking for volunteers to try this weight loss pill. You have to be diabetic, though, to try this pill. So it only works if you're diabetic. They're trying to look, if you have some kind of issues with diabetes, you are the candidate for them to try this pill. So if you need to lose a few pounds, hit Jerry Plemons up over at Crossroads Research, 361-288-4668. That's 361-288-4668. For more info, go visit them at number3cra.com. That is number3cra.com. Shout out to Crossroads for sponsoring the show. All right. 361-882-5397. Make sure you guys get in on the text line this morning. I want to hear from y'all. Where are you guys at? What are your thoughts on the Cowboys as we head into the summertime and get ready for training camp coming up in about 1 month? Well, in the midst of this past week, there was a crazy story that happened. And everybody knows that. And we're about to dive into the 920 news.
There's a lot of news.
And now the news.
The PGA and LIV Golf have merged. And this story happened, when was it, Monday?
Yeah, I think Monday.
It was at the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
So I mean,
always right after we have our sports rush.
So this is kind of old news already, but it gives us an opportunity to kind of rehash and just give our thoughts on the situation now that we pretty much know everything. You
Yeah.
know, we're not reacting. We have kind of all the details on the table. So this is what I read yesterday. Jay Monahan, the PGA commissioner, essentially told people within the PGA that they were not going to be able to outmoney the Saudis in court because there was litigation between the PGA and the Saudi PIF corporation, right? The private investment fund corporation that runs the LIV Golf that has ties to the Saudi Arabian country. Anyways, Jay Monahan said that they were going to be tied up in litigation for so long that pretty much the Saudis were going to bleed them dry of money, and that the PGA essentially had no choice but to broker this deal to save themselves from going essentially bankrupt in the long term and essentially join sides with the one organization that the PGA said they would never join sides with. Jay Monahan was backed into a corner, and I'm not giving him an excuse here
Yeah, no.
because he invoked 9/11 into this conversation. He said that, you know, he would never join LIV, that it would be a slap in the face to everybody who was associated with 9/11. Fast forward 1 year later, you're in bed with the Saudis, you jackass.
I mean, it's crazy what money can do to a person. He just completely folded it. I mean, congrats to the golfers, first and foremost, because they got to go over, play less golf than they would have in the PGA and make way more money than they could have in the PGA. And now they get to come back, play in the PGA, and they're pretty much set for life.
No, but I mean, this sucks for the golfers currently in PGA because some of them like dropped a huge bag.
Yes.
Because they denied going into LIV. You know what's funny is that you remember when the LIV first came out, I was actually initially intrigued, and then LIV unveiled itself as like a right-wing political rallies and all that, and just didn't feel like golf. Didn't feel like golf like it should, and I kind of was turned off by that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's indicative in the ratings too, because the ratings just absolutely tanked.
Yes.
So essentially, you know, in the long run, right, when you put the nice bow on this story, LIV Golf got what they wanted. The PIF, the Public Interest Fund of Saudi Arabia, got what they wanted. They infiltrated the PGA, and now they own the PGA, essentially. They are the ones who have the stakes in the PGA. They're the ones that are going to be backing the money of the PGA now. And Jay Monahan was named the new CEO, so he's, of course, the American face of this new company. But behind the scenes, pulling the strings, is the PIF of Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And, of course, a lot of people were reacting to that, and I just wanted to get my take out there. Jay Monahan, whoa, I don't know how you survive that. There's reports that players want him gone. Guys like Rory McIlroy, who were standing up for him, now look just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's all we can do is hope that the golfers who are currently in the PGA end up getting the money that the ones who left can get.
Facts.
And maybe that will maybe somewhat make things right. Not fully. I don't think anything's going to fully make things right. It's just there's always going to be like a bad taste in people's mouths now with the fact that the PGA caved. But I think getting more money to the golfers like they would have if they left to go play at LIV may make some things a little bit better.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's a good point. We can move on. The next story in the 920 news, Kyrie Irving is reportedly trying to recruit LeBron James to the Dallas Mavericks. This story came out earlier in the week. A new twist on the LeBron and Kyrie Irving reunion plot, this time not in Los Angeles, this time creating a big three in Dallas to join forces with Luka Doncic.
Wow, that still isn't the center that they need.
True.
So
Wow.
our thoughts on that?
Not happening.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think so either, but man, that small ball lineup would go crazy.
That would be a crazy situation.
Because the Lakers don't seem interested in Kyrie, so
No, they don't.
that's the only possible scenario for Kyrie to play with LeBron again, and it's not going to happen this year. So.
And let's just face facts. The Lakers already said or have indicated that they're not interested in Kyrie, like you said, Aiden. Thus, Kyrie had to throw this out there to try and entice LeBron. They're all playing against each other because LeBron wants Kyrie.
Yeah.
And if LeBron don't get Kyrie, well, guess what? I'm going to threaten to retire. If LeBron don't get Kyrie, well, guess what? LeBron and Kyrie are going to create some rumors saying, you know what? I don't want to be in LA. I'll go to Dallas with Kyrie. They're trying to force the Lakers into the corner and backs against the wall so that way LeBron gets what he wants and Kyrie gets what he wants. But the Lakers so far, credit to Rob Pelinka and company, they're not budging.
And with the new CBA, it's going to be hard to put a team around. If you sign Kyrie, they're going to have like no depth at all. So,
Absolutely. No depth.
I rather them try to find a way to stick with the team that they had ending when they ended the playoffs, at the Western Conference Finals. That's the better route than just signing Kyrie because I don't know if 5 years ago you put Kyrie, AD, and LeBron together. Oh my gosh, that's a super team.
Yeah, no, that's the greatest team of all time.
But now it's not. It's not ideal for winning.
The weird thing was when the headline first broke was Kyrie was recruiting LeBron and Kyrie is an upcoming free agent, which doesn't really make sense in my head how a pending free agent is advocating for somebody and not the franchise itself.
I think Kyrie wants to be back in Dallas. There's heavy rumors that he is going to re-sign with Dallas.
Yeah, it's just a very weird situation.
So that wraps up our 920 news segment. 361-882-5397. Get in on the text line. Let us know your thoughts on any and all things sports. Coming up next, the Astros have been struggling. The Rangers are red hot. The AL West, whoa! None of us saw this coming. We're going to talk some baseball right after the break. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 120. James, Aiden, and Alex with you. Coming up in 15 minutes, it's the return of WTF. You're not going to want to miss this edition. Zion, baby Gronk, the world is going crazy. We'll talk about all that in 15 minutes' time. Real quickly, Stash Dash is coming up on June the 17th, which is next Saturday. Stash Dash 5K and Kids 1K. It's going to be going down at the House of Rock, benefiting Bikes for Kids. You can register for the race today. Go to stash-corpus.com. All participants will receive a free t-shirt, and runners 21 and up will receive a free beer voucher. Saturday, June 17th, House of Rock. 100% registration goes directly to Bikes for Kids Corpus Christi. So make sure you guys sign up for that. During the break, I was just scrolling around on CBS News and CBS Sports, I should say, cbssports.com. And I ran into an article because Victor Wembanyama, he was his team was in the French finals yesterday, and reportedly, his team got blown out. So he apparently didn't do that good. They lost 87-64. He failed to reach double figures in scoring. He was 3 of 8 shooting, had 7 rebounds, a pair of assists, and 1 block. He had multiple block shots, though, so he did quite well on the defensive side, but his team ended up losing, and Game 2 of that will go down on Monday, the French League Finals. Bringing up Wemby, of course, because he's projected to be the number 1 overall pick. He's projected to be the Spurs' future, and the NBA draft is actually going down June 22nd, guys.
Yeah,
and
it's close.
I have a on-air proposal to you two.
Okay.
June 22nd, the NBA draft happens at about 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
The Spurs will be picking first. I propose that us 3 go out somewhere to watch that. If y'all are available.
Well, what day is it?
June 22nd, Tuesday night.
So we just go and
Tuesday.
watch that first pick, and then
No, like we go eat and have a beer or something, and then we hang out for a little while.
and we watch that first pick, and then you end up leaving.
I'll probably leave like at 8, as I'm not known to stick around too long. Look, 2 hours is my max. That's about where I'm at right now with the
Then
3-year-old son.
we better get there when the draft first starts. Otherwise, we're not making it through the first round.
That's what I'm saying. But we'll at least get to see the Wemby pick. And my Wemby jersey is en route. So I'm hoping to have it by the time the NBA draft happens on June 22nd.
The Spurs are gonna pick Wemby, but that would be the ultimate jinx if for some reason they change their minds.
And I'm wearing a Wemby Spurs jersey.
Yeah.
Talk about disaster.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I mean, I assume the Spurs are ran by people with the brain. So.
Yeah. So there we go.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and do that. We'll talk more details, of course, and then whenever we do finalize that, I'll let you guys know where we're at, and if some of y'all want to join us, we could have a big-ass Spurs party watching the draft. So there we go. 361-882-5397. Get in on the text line. Let's talk some Major League Baseball. Let's talk some Astros in particular. Boy, oh boy, let me just start off. Last weekend when I was in Houston, good Lord, did I have a time. You want to know my stats from last weekend in Houston? Anybody?
Your featherweight, or no, actually no, your flyweight stats.
These are my stats of how much alcohol I consumed in Houston last week. The heaviest drinking day was Friday when we got there. 4 beers at the hotel, 1 vodka orange juice at the hotel, 2 beers at the bar pregame, 3 beers at the game, $15 each a beer at the game. So what is that? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 9 beers plus 1 vodka orange juice.
Ooh.
Okay. Saturday was a little bit more tame. I had 1 vodka orange juice at the hotel, 2 24-ounces at the game, and then 2 beers post-game at St. Arnold's. That was a little bit more tame. Had to take it easy. But I had a great time in Houston. Saw Jordan hit a freaking bomb off Ohtani. Saw Bregman hit a grand slam. Saw Jolks take Ohtani deep. Great times were had. But since then, the Astros have been struggling. Last night, they got the win against the Guardians, which is great. But they snapped a 4-game losing streak in the process. Meanwhile, you have the Texas Rangers, on the other hand, who have been red hot. And the Rangers won yesterday against the Rays. The Rangers have a 5-game lead in the American League West. The American League West is starting to stretch a little bit here. The Astros are starting to fall just a little bit behind. 5 games ain't much.
No.
There's still 100 games left in the season, but 5 games is 5 games. That's kind of a tough mark to make up. You got to get hot, and you got to hope the Rangers fall into a skid, which they haven't so far.
Yeah, it's their bats, man. Well, it's their bats, and then Nathan Eovaldi's been like, I think he's now in this, like he's favored for the Cy Young now, which is crazy because that was supposed to be Jacob deGrom. But they have Corey Seager. So the Rangers actually beat the Rays yesterday, so the Astros didn't gain out on them at all, even though they won.
I know.
So Corey Seager batted 4 for 5 or 5 for 5 yesterday. He's batting over 350 this year. And I know he's limited at bats because he got injured. He missed a few weeks, but still, that him and Marcus Semien and
they're playing
huge,
like we thought they could play.
Huge free agent signings, for them. And yes, like the Rangers actually, for the most part, I know DeGrom got injured and all that, but the other signings that they've had have paid off really well.
They actually look good. Remember before the season when we made our Major League Baseball predictions, I think we all were kind of in the ballpark that the Rangers could be a wild card team, playoff team.
Yeah, I thought they'd be like third. And I thought the Mariners are the disappointing team.
Oh, so yeah. They're what, 1 game under 500 now?
So they've like, the Rangers have taken that taking the place now. And honestly, man, like,
I mean,
I'm starting to think Astros might be a wild card team.
I mean, the way the Astros have looked, look, they got tons of injuries to the starting pitching rotation, right? You're relying on guys like J.P. France and Brandon Bielak, which, I mean, J.P. France last night pitched a hell of a game. He went 7 strong.
Yeah, they've been decent. They haven't been great, but they've been serviceable at least.
But, you know, your top 3 pitchers right now, if the playoffs were to start, your top 3 pitchers are Framber Valdez. Okay, check. I'm confident.
Yes.
Christian Javier. Check. I'm confident.
Yes.
But then your third starter is rookie Hunter Brown. That's and look, don't get me wrong, Hunter Brown's pitched well. He's pitched good, but he does have command issues. There's times where he is very hittable. There's times where teams light him up. I don't know, man. I think the Astros need one more quality starting pitcher to add to the rotation.
Yeah,
and then
I agree.
The way the offense has been looking, now that Yordan Alvarez is on the injured list for at minimum 10 days, you need another bat, dude. There needs to be another quality bat because Jose Abreu, yeah, he's had 6 RBIs in the past 2 days. He's starting to get a little bit hot. Hopefully he continues that. But, I mean, the previous 50-something games before hasn't been good.
Can the Astros or Rangers switch spots with one like the teams in the AL Central, please? Just so we can have the actual best teams in the postseason, please. Royals. You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? These past 2 games, the Astros have been in Cleveland, and Jose Abreu is, former White Sox. He's used to playing in those AL Central parks.
Yep.
I just think he feels a little bit comfortable there.
Yeah.
And that's why we're kind of seeing him showing out a little bit. The Astros do play at 12 o'clock today in the series finale against the Guardians.
I actually pushed to 11:40.
Oh, yeah. Early start time today. So as soon as we get out of the show, there'll be Astros baseball on your TV. But yeah, man, I'm a little bit concerned with that. And then, so earlier this week, fellas, it was also announced that Lance McCullers Jr. will undergo an MRI. And you know what happens when pitchers undergo MRIs?
Yeah,
tough scene.
It's same thing with Jacob deGrom, although Lance is not as dominant as deGrom is. But I'm at the point where, like, once I think McCullers has, like, what, how many more years left?
I'm not quite sure on the McCullers deal. I'll look it up real quickly.
But when his deal is done, like, I see that, the Astros have got to move on from it whenever his deal is done, man. It just has been ever since that injury he had against I think it was the White Sox in the 2021 ALDS.
Yeah,
just hasn't been there. Last year he had his moments, but he wasn't the consistent pitcher that we saw. Before his injury.
The good news is for Astros fans is it feels like there is a lot of good pitchers who are not necessarily, I want to say, available, but attainable. It just feels like when you look up and down to see who the good pitchers are, there's a few that are attainable.
Like give me Dylan Cease from the White Sox. Give me
Cease,
what's his
Stroman.
name? Rodriguez from the Tigers.
I mean, Shane Bieber's also...
Bieber from the Guardians, right? I mean, like...
If you could convince the Twins that they're not going to do anything and you could get one of their pitchers, because they have multiple who are very good.
The Astros just need another quality arm in that rotation, because if it comes down to playoff time and you have a rookie J.P. France, you got rookie Hunter Brown, you got a little bit of a journeyman Bielak as your bottom 3 guys in that rotation, you're probably not going to have Lance McCullers coming back. That could be dicey. And
yes,
the bullpen at times has also looked shaky as well, with Rafael Montero back there.
Oh, man, he's the 8th highest paid reliever in all of baseball.
Yeah, and he has a 6.04 ERA.
That's another
fantastic.
That's a reliever, man. Jeez.
Good. Yeah, as a reliever who pitches 1 inning at a time, pretty much.
That's
pretty rough.
Good.
Pretty rough going.
And he's only had like one good year besides last year, and because if you look at his numbers, he's shown to be like mid at best. So
yeah. Here's a quick stat right here. I mentioned that the Astros trail the Rangers by 5 games in the American League West. The Astros have never been 5 games back in the division at any point during the past 5 full major league seasons. This is the most they've ever trailed in the AL West since 2017. That is why I'm kind of a little panicky here.
Yeah, I remember 2020, the A's in the regular season were the much better team, and then the Astros were one game away from making the World Series that year when they lost to the Rays in the 4-3. So you can't count this Astros team out. You know, six straight years in the ALCS. I'm still confident that they can make the ALCS again, but it's hard to repeat. We haven't seen it since the steroid-injected Yankees of the late 90s.
And you got to look at it this way. The Astros are not bad. The Rangers are just playing very, very good. Astros are still 5th in the American League, and they're only 9 games out of first. Tampa Bay is starting to take a step back from their extremely hot start that we saw to begin the season. Baltimore is still way ahead of what we thought they were going to be this year. They're 40-24, which is crazy to say that Baltimore is 40-24, but they do have a very good young core. I don't expect them to finish 3rd in the American League by any means, so I expect them to take a little bit of a step back.
And I guess what we can say is whenever we all just take a step back and look at it from a top view point of vantage point, there's still about 100 games left.
Yes.
Yeah.
We are barely at the 62-ish game mark for the majority of the teams out there.
We're not even halfway done.
Yeah, there's still 100 games left. There's still a ton of baseball to be played, a ton of swings to be had, momentum shifts, losing streaks, winning streaks, trade deadline, all-star break. The rest of the season's still ahead of us. So, yes, the Astros are 5 games back, but there's still a lot of time left.
I will say though, I wouldn't want the Astros to be in the last spot for the wild card, but the last team for the wild card gets to play the AL Central winner in the playoffs.
That's true.
I mean,
I guess if you're looking at it like that, and then of course another note before we end the segment here, Rangers. We did mention this kind of earlier, but they did lose Jacob deGrom to Tommy John surgery, which is unfortunate.
Indeed it is. He has been a great pitcher when healthy, but when healthy is the key point, as it just seems like he can't stay healthy these past few seasons.
And you can tell, this Rangers team has a legit shot to make the World Series. And,
they do.
And, it feels like, having deGrom would be like the missing piece. It might bite them in the end if they don't make the World Series or something like that.
Well, now that deGrom is gone, the Rangers, Chris Young, general manager and company, maybe they're a bit more aggressive at the trade deadline and trying to acquire an extra arm, knowing that they do have a team that could possibly make the World Series. So that's kind of the glass half full perspective if you're a Rangers fan. Yeah, we lost deGrom, but now that kind of gives your front office the aggressive card to play at the trade deadline to make a move.
And I could very much see a bidding war between the Rangers and the Astros come trade deadline.
I honestly love this. I love the fact that the Rangers and Astros are so into this.
Yeah. And shout out to the St. Louis Cardinals for trading away 2 of the 10 best outfielders this year in MLB, and Randy Arozarena and Adolis Garcia. Shout out to the Cardinals.
They are just in the depths.
That's going to wrap up some Major League Baseball talk. When we come back, it's the return of WTF. Zion, get some help now. We'll talk that and more after the break. Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 120. James, Aiden, and Alex with you. All the way till 11 a.m. Coming up at the top of the hour, we'll dive into the NBA Finals. The Nuggets have a commanding 3-1 lead. We'll give our finals takes coming up at 10:05. So make sure you stick around for that. Right now, though, it is the much-anticipated return of WTF.
What the F-bomb is going on?
Yeah, that's what the F I'm talking about.
What the is that? Who are you?
What is wrong with you?
Felt good to hear that again. We haven't had one of those in a while, but you know what?
It's been a while.
It's the summertime, and we're into the doldrums of sports starting to come up, so we're going to be running into some crazy stories. You'll hear some more WTF. Zion Williamson found himself in a bit of heat this past week after Zion Williamson and his girlfriend, Akima, announced that they are expecting a baby. Adult film star Moriah Mills went on a Twitter tirade claiming that she had recent sexual relations with the NBA star. On Tuesday night, Akima posted photos of the apparent couple's gender reveal party, indicating that she is pregnant with a baby girl that is due in November. That set off alarms for Mills, who claimed she had been with Williamson in the not-too-distant past. These are some tweets from Moriah Mills, and I'm going to clean these up as best as I can. Better pray I'm not pregnant, too, because I'm definitely late at Zion Williamson, Mills tweeted. Here's another tweet. I was with you last week in New Orleans, and you couldn't tell me you had a random thought pregnant after all I've done for you at Zion Williamson. I let you blank me so many times without condoms, and this is what you do to me as a hood rat that does CPN?
Wow.
Anybody want to comment on this situation,
Now,
Alex?
I've gone through, and you saying went on a tirade. She is still actively going on a tirade as of probably 5 minutes ago. I haven't checked in a little bit.
I have my Twitter open right in front of me, and in the trending topics is Moriah Mills.
Yeah, she's still going at it.
I mean, how insecure do you have to be?
Everything she touches, she screws.
I mean, yeah, you're right on that. But here's the other thing. The messages she has posted, if they are real, they've been in contact as soon as like 3 or 4 weeks ago, which does not bode well for Zion if he is actually having a kid with a woman. So I would imagine the fact that he's been off social media probably means he's likely in the doghouse, and it's not looking good for him.
Oh, but so I guess he's doing all of these community events and whatnot. He's doing all these charities.
Oh,
Man,
yeah.
his PR team's better than Vought's at this point.
It is
Vaught,
crazy.
And I thought Vaught had the best PR. I guess not.
Shout out to the New Orleans Pelicans PR team. They're making Zion look like a great guy, and I'm pretty sure he is. Look, and I guess
I don't know.
I guess the long and short of this, right? There's this skank who's going on a tirade.
Nobody has better toys than I do.
And she's jealous that Zion's having a baby with another woman. But my one thing is this, right? What Zion did, yes, he probably shouldn't have been messing around with hoes. But he's a young adult who's, 22 years old maybe?
Yes, but if he does have a baby with another woman, that's not a good look.
It's not a good look.
It's not.
I'm not condoning this. But I'm saying, as a 22-year-old young single man, probably, who's making...
Who knows at this point?
Who's making $20 million to $30-something million a year. This is what kind of happens. You kind of fall into the hoe trap.
But here's the thing. It's not just the whole baby situation. It's also the fact that there's screenshots of wire transfers for as high up as I've seen, like $25,000. Like, she's getting $107,000 a month from him, I heard.
That's crazy. What is... Okay, yeah,
With
Zion.
a kid on the way from another woman, that is not good.
Zion, what are you doing? What are you doing? Here's some more tweets from Moriah Mills. Quote, you're putting my life in danger blanking all these hoes raw. End quote.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Here's another quote from Moriah Mills. Quote, I let you spit in my mouth last week when we blanked. You could have told me you had another blank pregnant. How was that going to work moving us both to New Orleans? You think I would have found out at Zion?
What the hell? Yeah.
Wild times.
You know what, Zion? When the going gets tough, you still got to follow this saying.
Bros before hoes.
Okay. I agree. And, of course, Zion only played in 29 games last season, this past season. He missed all of the previous year before that, battling a persistent foot injury.
That's probably why he has all these injuries that we don't hear until later on.
Moriah Mills also claims that she blanked Zion back into shape, I guess, that they blanked so much
Well,
they
that's just not true.
got him back into shape.
That's just not
oh my
true.
Gosh.
I love the poorly educated.
Moriah Mills, yay or nay?
No.
Big
No.
nay. Big old nay, man.
Just, yeah.
Oh, man, there's
What? Go ahead.
oh, man, there's so many red flags I'm seeing a NASCAR wreck at this point, man.
361-882-5397. Weigh in on the young Zion tribulations this morning. WTF.
I do have an update.
Go ahead.
I don't think she is on Twitter anymore.
Wow.
Good.
I cannot find her main account.
Oh
so
my
I
God.
do not believe she is on Twitter anymore.
Wow, did Elon finally do something correct?
You'll find multiple accounts, but
Yeah.
I don't think any of those are actually the one she was tweeting at Zion with. So I don't think she's on Twitter anymore, and so I think the tirade is over as of about 10 minutes ago.
Oh my God, have we made it through the Moriah Mills Zion
It's
era?
not over. No, I don't think by a long shot, but it's on Twitter at least. It's over.
How does Zion
Done. You are done.
walk back into the locker room facing his teammates? Do you think his teammates look at him like, bro, like, what are you doing? Do you think anybody brings it
You
up?
don't answer anything.
No.
You don't bring it up.
Answer anything.
Zion is the franchise, player and all that. I don't think,
Yeah, you don't bring that up, right?
No.
Oh my God. So interesting right there. Very, very interesting developments. And look, young guy with lots of money, NBA superstar. All I got to say is this: Wemby, please stay away from the San Antonio Moriah Mills out there, because I can guarantee you
And he's a handsome fella.
there
Listen
are-
to Charles Barkley advice.
there are women in San Antonio who are probably of the same mindset of a Moriah Mills that are going to come after you, Wemby.
If you
Please.
listen to Charles Barkley advice, the women there are not great, okay? That's
please,
from Charles Barkley. Take his advice. Stay safe.
just please,
The
Wemby.
Spurs need you.
And Wemby, if you do, Wemby, protect yourself. That's it.
Double bag it.
Stay safe. And that's going to wrap up the return of WTF. Wow. Felt good.
Yeah, I'm so glad we didn't get to talk about Baby Gronk.
We could save.
Yes.
Why don't we say Baby
no.
Gronk?
No, we don't,
Sports grab bag.
We can talk about Conor McGregor knocking out a mascot and sending him to the ER.
That too. So there we go. That wraps up WTF, and that wraps up hour number 1 of the Sunday Sports Rush. Coming up next, the Nuggets have a commanding 3-1 lead over the Heat. We talk the greatness of Jokic and why this team could be poised for a long run of titles in the next several years. We're broadcasting live from the Americana Arms Studio. Big city selections, small town prices. This is KEYS Corpus Christi. Hour 2's coming up. Stick around. Good. Whoa. Wow. Good morning. What was that? Sunday Sports Rush, episode 120. James, Aiden, and Alex with you. My goodness, I couldn't even get through my intro right
Knocking
there.
off the rust.
Wow. That was embarrassing. But we're here. It's hour number 2. Hit us up on the text line, 361-882-5397. The text line is open for your service. Want to hear from you boys and girls out there here in the second hour. 361-882-5397. Real quickly, on our TV, going on right now, it's on commercial break, but we have the French Open final between Novak Djokovic and Casper Ruud. Right now, Djokovic is up 1 set. So it's 1-0 in sets, and he's up in set number 2, 3-1. So it looks like Djokovic might be on his way to another major at Roland Garros in the French Open. Matter of fact, real quickly, before I get into the NBA Finals discussion.
Before you introduce me and Alex.
I did introduce y'all. Oh, yeah, hold up. We're with Adin Ducker.
Cougars, I love Cougars.
There we go. And we're with Alex Weister.
I'm here as always.
He is here. So, quick aside, I was watching French Open tennis the other day while I was sick and recovering and all that stuff, and I saw Djokovic against Carlos Alcaraz, the young 20-year-old who's ranked number 1 in the world. Outstanding match. But Alcaraz started suffering body cramps.
Ooh.
Dude couldn't even move. Pretty much Djokovic beat him straight sets from that point on, 6-0, and I think it was 6-1. Like, the cramps just did him in, and that had the potential to be a really, really great match. So I was kind of sad about that. But looks like Djokovic is on his way. He's up 4-1 now to another French Open title. So there we go. Let's go ahead and let's dive into some NBA because the finals, oh boy, this thing could be over on Monday.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
It's going back to Denver. And the Nuggets have taken a commanding 3-1 series lead. They won Game 4 on Friday night, 108-95. We have some audio here of KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, hitting a dagger three-pointer, which put the Nuggets up 14 with under 2 minutes to go.
Adebayo lost the handle. Jokic was right there. Here comes Gordon. Gordon to Caldwell-Pope. Caldwell-Pope, three-pointer. Bang! Kentavious Caldwell-Pope nails the three, and it's a 14-point lead. Timeout Miami with 1:49 remaining.
Bang!
Nothing better than hearing the Mike Breen bang call at a clutch moment. Or, I feel like the Nuggets, that was like the dagger, but I feel like the Nuggets were in control of that game because of what happened with Bruce Brown.
And I was listening to that call by Mike Breen on the way back from Round Rock, and I wasn't really watching the game. I was more just listening to Breen and his call. It's so simple, but yet it is so good. It
Simplicity.
is crazy.
Sometimes simple is best. You know what I mean? And Breen's one of the best. And quick little note about Mike Breen. On Monday night, Game 5 will be Mike Breen's 100th NBA Finals game that he'll broadcast in his illustrious career. Amazing right there. One of the best. And you mentioned Bruce Brown, Aiden. Yeah, he went off, dude. That fourth quarter, he was just making crazy layups, crazy shots, slashing to the hole. Absolutely loved what I saw out of him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have Jokic, who's on the way to becoming the Finals MVP. He's averaging 30 points a game, 13 rebounds a game, 8 assists a game, 55, 44, 88% splits. That is unreal. It's unheard of. This man is the best in the game right now.
And there was actually a take by Breen that a lot of people were picking apart and giving their takes on. And I'm curious what you guys think. He was giving praise to Jokic, and he said he can pass like magic, he can shoot like Dirk, and he can rebound like Moses.
Yeah.
No, he said shoot like Bird or something like that.
No, he said Dirk.
He said Dirk? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Either or.
What did Mike Breen say wrong? Let's be honest. He's probably one of the best passing big men I've ever seen since Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan used to be able to pass his ass off back in the day.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, Jokic has some crazy passes, man. I love watching this guy.
I think the one that I also probably have the biggest disagreement with, and they had it on the broadcast, was the rebounding like Moses. Moses was like all-time great rebounding. Now, he said like Moses. He didn't say he's a better rebounder than Moses.
Rebounds like Rodman. You could put any of the great rebounders. He rebounds very well.
The Magic comp is very good.
Yeah.
The flashiness, the effectiveness, it's there. The shooting like Dirk, he doesn't shoot as many outside shots as Dirk, but it's still very efficient like Dirk.
Yeah. Go ahead, Aiden.
Yeah, and then I'll refer back to Game 3. Jokic and Jamal Murray, 30-point triple-doubles for the first time in NBA history, not in any game that's ever happened with just a masterclass by both of them. That could have been a game that he could have won, and they took that game over. Going into Game 4, Jokic and Murray were kind of struggling with their shot a bit, and they were being hounded. Miami played more. Miami was pressuring them, sending double teams whenever they had the ball in their hands and whatnot. And shout out to Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, Aaron Gordon with a game high 27 points, did very well, and he's been a monster in this series. He's only 27 years old, but he feels like he's been in the NBA forever.
Yeah, man,
that's crazy.
And I know, that foul call on Jokic, man, to the fact that he even had to sit out that long because of foul trouble.
That was such an egregious foul call that I typed in the text chat that we have as Sunday Sports Rush. I typed, dude, that was just so bad. Dude, that was a call where the NBA was like, we got to do anything to help Miami right now. We got to get this, we got to have more games than 5. That was that bad.
So Miami cuts it to 86-81, and you think, okay, Bam and Jimmy Butler, they're going to will the Heat and tie the series, and it just didn't happen. Bam didn't even score in the fourth.
No.
Jimmy Butler, he had a couple of decent layups and one here and there, but down the stretch he just I don't know. He hasn't been the same player he was to start the playoffs.
So Jimmy Butler had 25 points that game. Bam had 20 points, 11 rebounds. Kyle Lowry had 13 points for the Heat, but it was not enough. We mentioned Bruce Brown scoring 21 off the bench. That was awesome. Jamal Murray had 15 points and 12 assists. His fourth consecutive double-digit assist game. I don't think a lot of people are noticing that, how great of a distributor he has been for this Nuggets team.
And Jamal Murray, he's a hybrid guard because he'll play shooting guard when Jokic runs point, and then whenever Jokic is out or they're Jamal Murray could run point and whatnot, and he had 12 assists and 0 turnovers.
So teams that take a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals have won 35 out of 36 previous times.
Every time there's a 3-1 lead.
Well, it's in the NBA Finals. This is the stat.
Yeah, I know, but
in the NBA Finals,
who's the one team that
the one team that's only done it was the 2016 Cleveland Cavaliers, led by LeBron and Kyrie, who dethroned the 73-win Golden State Warriors.
Just
facts.
The Heat needs to win at least one of these games, and the fact that Denver went in and won both, and the fact that the Heat couldn't take advantage of a golden opportunity with Jokic on the bench, man. I know the series ain't over, but I think come Monday,
that was your best shot. You lost.
361-882-5397. Get your NBA Finals takes on the text line. We're talking finals here on the Sunday Sports Rush. What was impressive to me about the Nuggets was the way they closed out Game 4. They looked like basketball savants. The cuts they were making, the defense they played, the way guys are constantly moving in motion, trying to get to the bucket or setting up their shot. Like, this is basketball. This ain't standing around and chucking threes all game. This Nuggets team reminds me of some of the Glory Days Spurs teams.
That exactly.
And I think it's over. I think the coronation of a new champion happens on Monday night in Denver. I think this thing is done. I think they're going to do it on Monday.
This team is coached very well by head coach Mike Malone. They have been through the fire together. They have been to the top. They have been to the bottom through injuries and everything. This crew has molded together very well. They are very versatile, and they are showing it here in the finals.
Now,
and another thing too, the Heat, they played well in Game 2, so there's a possibility they might play well again. But Games 3 and 4, the trio of Vincent, Strus, and Martin, man, absolutely just breaking it up.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
Basically,
it's hit or miss with them. That's the thing. They have good games. They have very bad games. That's just how it is, and they're just role players. It's simple.
If Tyler Hero, there was speculation he was supposed to come back
Tyler
in Miami.
Hero doesn't shift the tide of the series.
I don't think so.
Yeah, but I think having
doesn't
Tyler
help. Maybe it's 2-2.
I mean, they should at least put him out there Game 5, just give him a little bit of a shooting boost.
Just think about this: if in Game 2, if it wasn't for Duncan Robinson, this is a sweep. When Duncan Robinson went off on that run at the beginning of the fourth quarter in Game 2, that really kind of sparked the Heat to take that win in Denver. Without Duncan Robinson's little spurt, I think he had like 8 points by himself in that little 8-0 run. Without that, it's a sweep. The Heat, Jimmy Butler, he's putting up points, but he hasn't taken over any games. There hasn't been nothing from Jimmy. Jimmy is a great player, and I do not want to hate on Jimmy. Love him, love everything about him, but I mean, he can't do it by himself.
No, he can't.
And Bam's had good games too, but you mentioned, Aiden, those three guys, Martin, Strus, and Vincent, without their contributions, this team is too top heavy. You got to have 1 through 5 pulling all the weight in the NBA Finals if you want to be a champion, and that's what we're seeing out of the Nuggets.
And then the Nuggets, too, they've always had a different role guy step up. Michael Porter Jr. hasn't even gotten going shooting yet. I think he's due as well. So
we had the Christian Brown game. We've
3.
had the Bruce Brown game in Game 4. Like you said.
Well, Aaron Gordon as well. He was the starter.
Aaron Gordon. But they're, different guys have been stepping up in big moments for the Nuggets.
And those are quality, both drafts and signings. But back on the topic of Duncan Robinson, much credit to the Heat. They've done a great job in terms of their management over time.
Yeah.
But that Duncan Robinson deal, that is horrid. $80 million guaranteed for him, and he's making 20 a year, he's averaging 8 points in the playoffs. He doesn't do anything.
I mean, he doesn't get enough shots. He was actually shooting the ball pretty well game 4. He just didn't get enough looks.
Interesting.
But he's not worth $20 million.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you there.
So essentially, as we wrap up this NBA Finals segment, go around the room here, and 361-882-5397, y'all guys can answer on the text line as well. Is the series over on Monday night? Is it over? Are the Nuggets going to win this on Monday in Denver? Will they take the series in 5 games? Alex?
I say yes. Max is game 6. It's not going 7.
Adin?
I said Nuggets in 5. I'm sticking with that. I think it's going to be a close game, though. I don't think the Heat are going to get blown out. I think it's going to be very tight. I think the Nuggets make a couple plays in the last couple minutes.
I think they take the lead at some point, like they have majority of these games, and then they just end up fading away.
Jokic, triple-double, solidifies his greatness on Monday.
And solidifies his spot as the greatest player in the league.
I think the Nuggets win. I wouldn't say handedly, but they're going to win a tight contest like Aiden alluded to. But give me a Jokic triple-double to close it out, and he'll take the MVP of the series. And I don't think this series goes past Monday. 361-882-5397. Let us know your thoughts on the NBA Finals. When we come back, we're going global because Lionel Messi is coming to the United States. We'll talk that big news and more after the break. Sunday Sports Rush, episode 120. James, Aiden, and Alex with you all the way till 11 a.m. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll talk UIL state baseball playoffs. MIC Sports Network was up there to cover the London state semifinal game. Alex was actually on the call for that. Get his thoughts on that. And then, of course, we'll talk Sinton as well. We got audio for you from head coach Adrian Alanis and co-head coach Amaya of London. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we'll talk that. Right now, though, shout out to Crossroads Clinical Research. If you're looking to lose a few pounds, then pay attention. Our friend of the show, Jerry, over at Crossroads Research, has an exciting new study involving a pill version of an amazing medication called Manjaro. Crossroads is currently looking for volunteers to try this weight loss pill, but there are some conditions. You have to be diabetic and have heart issues to qualify for this study. So if you have those issues, and if you need to lose a few pounds, call our friend and sponsor Jerry over at Crossroads Research at 361-288-4668. That's 361-288-4668. For more info, give them a visit at number3cra.com. Appreciate y'all at Crossroads for sponsoring the show and being back with us. That's awesome. We love you guys. Probably going to have Jerry on at some point in the next month or so. At some point, we'll figure that out. Be good to talk to Jerry once again. But right now, I wanted to go global. I wanted to spotlight the global happenings in sports. And yesterday, we had the Champions League final. Manchester City defeated Inter Milan by a final score of 1-0, and we actually have the game-winning goal from Rodri in the 68th minute. Here it is, courtesy of CBS Sports.
Silva! It'll come for Rodri! Breakthrough for Manchester City!
So Man City wins 1-0 over Inter Milan. They have claimed the treble. Do you guys know what the treble is when it comes to soccer?
The treble. Okay, so I think it's the Premier League title.
Correct.
Champions League. What's the third one?
The FA Cup.
The FA Cup. Yeah.
So they won all three. They won the big two domestic English tournament and league, and then they win Europe. They won the treble. It is the third time that manager Pep Guardiola has won a Champions League.
And I know this hurts you as a Manchester United fan.
It stings.
It stings. Manchester City, they've been known as a team. They win a lot of Premier League titles and whatnot, but the Champions League has been their boogeyman. This should be like their third or fourth Champions League title because they blew it so many times in the past decade. But getting that Haaland guy,
Erling Haaland, that guy's a beast.
when he got into the mix, that Manchester City just became a unit. I mean, they almost lost the Premier League if Arsenal didn't blow it in the end. But
that's what I'm saying. Arsenal did blow a big points advantage in the Premier League.
Manchester City getting past Real Madrid though, like that was even last year was like the boogeyman. It should be back to back for them, but they blew that Real Madrid series and whatnot.
So shout out to the City boys from Manchester. I got a few Manchester City friends who root for that club.
H-Town.
Yeah, in particular. So Manchester City, champions of Europe, transitioning to an international superstar who's going to be calling Miami home. Lionel Messi is set to join Inter Miami. He is leaving PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, the Argentine superstar announced Wednesday. Messi made the announcement about his next club in an interview with Spanish publications Mundo Deportivo and Sport. MLS later confirmed the proposed deal on social media. The 2022 World Cup winner was linked with a return to former club Barcelona as well, and as a possible move to Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal, but ultimately decided to join co-owner David Beckham's Inter Milan in Major League Soccer. Now, people are going to say Messi's washed. Messi ain't the same. Yeah, might have he lost a step? Yeah. Did he just play his ass off in the World Cup final in December? Check. Yes.
Argentina had a really good team, though.
Last year, did Manchester City want Messi? That is still a check. This year, was Barcelona still fighting to get Messi? That is still a check. It's not like he's coming over here barely crawling to play soccer. This guy is 35 years old. He still got about 5 good years left of soccer.
Yeah, but his club career ended pretty messy.
How? How did it end messy?
You didn't get it.
I got you, yes. But how did it end messy?
Well, getting booed off. He got booed out of PSG,
Look,
right?
Them French guys don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, maybe it's a Grusker from the World Cup
and
final.
It wasn't just him. It was Mbappe. It was Neymar. Their whole team disappointed.
Yeah,
all right?
I mean, with how messy his club career ended, I mean, it kind of counteracts the World Cup win in my eyes.
No, stop.
In my eyes.
Okay.
I said my eyes. You don't have to agree with me.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to agree with me.
Well, your eyes on this situation are the equivalent to Stevie Wonder, all right? So, I'm sorry, all right?
Ow,
Man.
Sorry, but...
Man, I'm usually the one that gets all the zingers on James, but that one was really good.
Ooh, he got you with that one, man.
2 weeks worth of zingers just in me.
I mean, he gets a zinger on me once every blue moon, so it happens.
But I respect you, and I get what you're saying, all right?
Yeah.
That his club career, it's kind of taken a little bit of a tailspin. Now, according to sources out there, Messi's going to receive a cut of revenue from new subscribers to Apple TV's MLS Season Pass streaming service. Any agreement involving Messi and Adidas would strictly be between the player and the company, and it wouldn't directly involve MLS. So there's kind of like some special provisions in this deal where he's going to be getting a cut from Apple. He's going to be getting a cut from Adidas, as well as his salary from Inter Milan.
Well, he's no doubt
Inter Miami, I should say.
He's no doubt going to bring in more eyes. That's a given. It comes with the territory. It'll bring more eyes to the MLS. It'll bring in more fans, and hopefully it could start to get some more traction to the league as a whole.
Now, let me ask you guys a question, because I know you guys don't necessarily follow MLS like the way I might. Will this entice you guys, who are not as big as soccer heads, to maybe at least check out Messi with Inter Miami?
I'm probably. I remember when Beckham was in the Galaxy. There was MLS had quite a bit of
had some flair, right?
Had some flair, yeah.
Even whenever Zlatan Ibrahimovic was in the MLS, not even a few seasons ago, there was some flair with him as well.
So I think I think MLS will get some attention. Sure. Yeah.
I've watched a little bit more soccer in recent years than I have in most years of my life, and I don't think I'm going to go out of my way, but I do find myself where there's a lot of dead time and there's really nothing on. If there is a game on, I will likely tune in, but I'm probably not going to go out of my way.
And the thing about what's happening with his situation with Inter Miami is Miami's like in last place. They're a very crappy team, so to speak. They just fired their manager, and there's rumors that Messi and David Beckham, they want to bring in Tata Martino, who was a former Argentinian coach of Messi's, to come in there and coach. So, in the past few seasons with PSG, Messi scored 32 goals in 75 games, as well as recording 35 assists. So Messi, he's not washed. This is going to be fun, man. And as a sports sicko, like the way I am, it just gives me more reason to want to watch MLS than I already do, because I do support Austin FC. I try and watch games of theirs, at least keep up. But yeah, I think I will be finding myself watching a lot more Major League Soccer now that Lionel Messi is coming stateside, and he'll be with Inter Miami. So that's pretty interesting right there. We'll keep y'all guys up to date as that situation progresses. But coming up next, it's time to talk some local 361. It was not the best weekend for Sinton and London. We recap the UIL State Baseball semifinals with our thoughts on the games and where these two programs stand going forward. We talk local next. Stick around. Welcome back to the Sunday Sports Rush, episode number 120. James, Aiden, and Alex with you till 11 o'clock. We got about 30 minutes left. It's going down this weekend, June 17th. Next weekend, I should say, on Saturday. The Stash Dash 5K and Kids 1K at the House of Rock, benefiting Bikes for Kids. You can still register for the race today. Head on over to stash-corpus.com. All participants will receive a free t-shirt, and runners 21 and up will receive a free beer voucher. It's going down Saturday, June 17th, House of Rock. 100% registration goes directly to Bikes for Kids Corpus Christi. It's the Stash Dash 5K. Make sure you guys register today for that. All right. An eventful weekend for us here at News Talk KEYS, MIC Sports Network. Y'all guys had the opportunity to go up to states. Alex, Doug, and Jake Vasquez.
Yes, indeed we did.
Covered the state tournament for Keys and for the MIC Sports Network. And I guess we'll start off with that game first. Let's start off with what happened between London and Wall in the 3A state semifinals. London falls to Wall 5-1, and London's season ends like that. They finished the cumulative season with a final record of 32-5-1. They spent much of the season ranked number one in multiple
the entire season.
Yeah, multiple Class 3A state polls.
Yeah, both Sinton and London.
But the thing that happened, and I listened to the entire game, they could never find an offensive groove.
Nope.
Against that Wall team. And Alex, you were there. You called the game. You saw it firsthand. Just kind of give us your synopsis of what you witnessed.
So it was a very hot day. It was indicative both with the game that happened before between Maypearl and Boyd. There was one player in specific who was throwing up on the field. He was not feeling good. They had to pull him from the game. And, of course, the heat just ramped up. It eventually got up to, I think, during the game, like 97. And it was like 3-mile-an-hour wind. And with that field in Del Diamond, it is built in. And it's very much like the field in San Antonio, where it's kind of just dead air. It's very hot, and there's really nothing. And it seems like it affected London's pitching more than it did with Wall. And none of the pitchers for London could really get going. Line got pulled after 2 2/3 innings, and Blaine Line is a Texas A&M commit. Phenomenal. He's one of the greatest pitchers that I've seen in the area.
He is a legit 6'6",
205, 215
left-hander that can just throw absolute gas with a crazy curveball slider combination.
It's great.
You know, when I was listening to the game, I was just kind of waiting for that moment when London was going to have a 5-run inning.
I was the same way as well.
A 6-run inning, but Wall, credit to what they did. This is a program that has won state before. This is a program that's been to state multiple times.
3 times, yes.
So they are a state caliber program, and credit to Wall, their pitching in particular was able to shut down what London was trying to do. Now, they did have to pull their starter, Luke Kemp, after one batter.
Yes. So
he walked the leadoff guy, and then they pulled him.
That was a very interesting scene. Nobody really knew what happened with that. You can only speculate if he was injured. He didn't pitch in the state finals, so my guess is that was the case. But, yep, it was a straight 4-ball walk, and he got pulled, and they brought in their freshman.
Yeah.
He pitched 5 innings.
Kellen Oliver.
Yes, he only struck out 2. And in all honesty, looking at their box scores throughout the postseason, it wasn't really a game that was unfamiliar to them. They walked a lot of batters. They walked 9 batters for London. That's what they do. Their pitchers walk a lot, and they don't strike out a ton. It's just how it is. But they find a way to get them behind in the counts and then get them to induce soft contact.
And then London, of course, we talked about how their bats were
Just
non-existent.
went cold.
You know, London had a chance in the 7th inning.
A very good one.
Well, let me rewind this real quick. You know, the Pirates put runners in scoring position in the 1st, 2nd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Yep.
But only pushed one run across. London loaded the bases in the 7th on 3 straight walks with 2 outs. And then Landon Salinas flew out to right to end the game. So a lot of runners left stranded on base, not timely hits. And look, it don't matter who you are in baseball. Yeah. That's the name of the game. If you cannot push across runs, you're probably going to lose. We got co-head coach Albert Amaya's audio. This is courtesy of Len Hayward of the Caller Times. He's talking about the loss and, you know, his program going to state. Here's Coach Amaya's reaction after the defeat.
I ain't going to say it was that. No, it wasn't the pitching change. I just think that they played a good game. We didn't get the timely hit when we need to. We hit the ball right at them a lot of times. And you've heard this cliche many times that the ball just didn't bounce our way today, and that's honestly how I feel. I feel like our boys played hard. They did everything they needed to win the game. Like I said, we hit some balls hard right at them. Hats off to them. They made the plays when they needed to. They got the timely hit when they needed to, and that's why they came out on top.
Do you agree with that assessment, Alex? You were there.
It's a fair assessment. They did play hard. Spirits were up majority of the time. It's just the hitting thing is a bit off to me. I feel like they could have hit better because with conditions like that, hitting fly balls is not going to win you a game.
No, of course not.
They have power. Don't get me wrong. But this isn't a high school park. It's a lot further for the fences, and there's no wind. This isn't Cabinets Field where if you lift it, that ball's going to drift maybe 20 more yards than you would where they were at. So those fly balls would just pop up and just die immediately.
Yeah, Dell Diamond, that's a minor league AAA ballpark, you know, similar to the Hooks out here. But even out here, they have the wind off of the coast. Up there, you're landlocked.
Yes, they didn't have it. And they didn't adjust. They kept swinging up, which popped it up. They didn't hit the ground balls, which could have got more runners on base, and that's what Wall did.
361-882-5397. Make sure you get into the text line and let us know. Let's transition now to the other area team who made it up to state. This game happened on Wednesday. Class 4A action at UFCU Disch-Falk Field in Austin. Sinton loses to China Spring in an epic 12-inning ball game in the state semifinals. They lost 8-4. China Spring ended up kind of busting things open in, what was it, the 12th inning?
Yes.
12th inning, yeah.
And that kind of put Sinton behind. The tail of the tape for the Sinton Pirates, they left 20 runners on base in 12 innings, including the bases loaded in the 5th. In 7 of the 12 innings, the Pirates left at least 2 runners on base, including the 7th, 9th, and 11th. The Pirates had a chance to win in the 7th inning, 9th, and the 11th with runners on base.
Yeah, that I think it was it was in the 9th or 11th where they had it was 1 out, bases loaded, and DeChristio hit into that double play.
Yeah,
it was a decent hit. It was just more solid play by China Springs. You know, and what hurts is that China Spring, I believe in the 8th or 9th, they loaded the bases with 0 outs themselves, and Aiden Moody got them out of that jam.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, that's going to be a turning point in the game, and Sinton's going to take control. And it just didn't happen. Credit to a resilient China Spring team. They were in the state semifinal last year. They lost to Argyle, which Argyle's a unit, baseball team and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so, I even said to Alex, I think this is going to be a really tough game for Sinton to win.
Yeah.
Just because they were there last year at state. They're probably, very hungry and whatnot. Credit to Sinton. They didn't lay down.
No, they didn't.
12 innings. But, at the end, it just wasn't meant to be for Sinton.
It felt very uncharacteristic. in the times where you would think, okay, this is the Sinton that we see, this is where they do it, and they didn't. And it was just like, okay, what's going on with this team? Like, this is where we would usually see them really kicking into gear, but they just never hit that next level that we've seen them do
And
before.
one of the weirdest things I've ever seen, I mean, we saw last week, how weird that was, but, Adrian at least had like a freak injury.
Yeah.
I heard from, apparently he told Chris that he feels like he ruptured his Achilles.
Chris, being Chris Thomason from
Yes.
KIII Sports.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure he was still coaching for like the dugout, but he couldn't be the third base.
No.
I mean, look,
most head coaches are the third base coach.
This is the thing.
He couldn't be out there.
This is the thing, right? 20 runners left on base, you're going to lose every game.
Yes.
You're going to lose that game
It's
every
plain
single
and simple.
time. 20 runners left on base, guys in scoring position, 1 out, no outs. You can't get those guys in a state semifinal game. Yeah, that's a tough ask for anybody. Even if you're ranked number 1 in the state for the majority of the year, if you're leaving 20 runners on base, the facts are you're probably going to lose that game more times than not.
That 4A trophy was a tough get
Dogfight.
because China Spring, I think, what was it, 11 innings?
No,
11 or 12 innings?
I got to give it Nick China Spring 24 total innings they played in the state tournament.
Yeah, the championship game.
24.
Who did they play?
Argyle.
Oh.
No, it wasn't Argyle. No, it was a team out of Texarkana.
Oh, yes.
Texarkana, Liberty, Elu.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's who it was. Argyle played in the 5A. I forgot about that.
So there we go, man. Just tough right there. We do have Adrian Alanis. We got some audio. This is actually courtesy of our good friend Chris Thomason of KIII Sports. Adrian Alanis, this is him post-game talking about the extra innings semifinal loss and what it means for his seniors and how much he's going to miss those guys.
I'm just proud of the way those seniors have bought into the program and given us their everything. And we came up a little short this year. They were able to go out of this 4-year tenure with a state championship in their hand. But, life happens, and, I wish the best for all of them.
Are you excited to follow them at the next level?
Absolutely, man. And I still talk to our guys that are continuing ball from last year's team. They don't just get me for 1 year or for the 4 years that they're here with me. They get me for life, and I'm a huge mentor to them, and they could call me late hours if they needed something, guys. That's part of the role that I do with these boys, and so just really privileged and fortunate to have them.
There's head coach Adrian Alanis reacting to his team's loss, talking about the seniors. And you mentioned this senior class, right? Kind of crazy, the run that they went on.
Yeah.
This senior class's freshman season was truncated because of COVID. But from 21 to 23, the seniors won nearly 100 games, made 3 state tournament appearances, and won a state championship in 2022.
Yeah, glad they got
crazy.
Glad at least they got one chip under their belt. You know what's kind of bittersweet is that I woke up this morning, I went on Facebook, and I saw an anniversary post. That Sinton and London, London had just won. It was the day after London had just won state, and it was like, wow, Sinton and London, they both won state. We have 2 champions, and it kind of hurts seeing them both lose.
But you know what's going to be cool though is that Sinton has a pedigree that's so deep. They have 12 total state tournament appearances, 4 state championships to their program. Sinton will be back. Sinton is just going to reload. They will be back.
I agree on the reload part. I think this next year is going to be a lot of figuring out who's next.
It might be a little tougher, yeah, for sure, but they'll still be a contender. London will still be a contender, in my opinion.
London, their whole crew is pretty much coming back.
London, they have one more year with this. They have one more year
with
this,
Line and Waters. They still have their pitching
Salinas.
core. Like they still have their group coming back.
It's just that Sinton, it was a dogfight getting to state to begin with for Sinton.
Yeah.
You had that pesky New Braunfels teams in Davenport, and then Bernie, that was another pesky team. So
Bernie and the umps.
Sinton, I could say they're the favorites to make it to the state again, but I wouldn't, even Alan Lease, if we talked to him, he probably wouldn't say it's never a guarantee.
Yeah.
So, but Sinton is going to be around for a while, at least contending deep into the playoffs. So.
Now, just to put a bow tie on this segment, shout out to these teams, though. Yeah. Shout out to these coaches, these players for making it that far. Both of them accomplished something others can only dream. 3 consecutive trips to state for each program, each leaving with 1 title in hand out of 3 chances. And it's hard to repeat as a state champion in baseball, especially in this area. The last team that did it was Robstown back in 91-92. They went back-to-back in Class 4A. The last private school team to do it was John Paul II. They did it in 2011 and 2012.
They had Jose Trevino on that team, man.
So, it's tough to repeat, especially coming from this area down here in Corpus. But shout out to Sinton. Shout out to London. Hell of a season, gentlemen. Hell of a season. We can't wait to watch you guys back on the diamond next spring. There we go. That wraps it up. That's the end of the 22-23 high school year.
Yeah,
football's in the horizon.
Yeah, in the horizon. Late August, we'll have a GP football, man.
GP football, baby. We'll be back.
I always feel a little pit in my stomach though that the high school baseball season ends. I wish there was more.
I'm gonna say something right now, and I don't even think this is controversial, but this is just my personal opinion. I like baseball season more.
Well, baseball season, you have teams in the air.
We cover more teams. You know what I mean? Nothing against I love GP. Love you, GP. I work for GP. Love you guys so much. But I like seeing all the teams.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like covering all the teams. But there we go.
That's why football season edges it out for me because of the position that I'm in now. I get to go and see all these different teams.
Football season, we're more micro-focused on one team, but still kind of keeping our eyes on others, but it's still fun regardless. So we'll be back with football coming up in August, and that's going to wrap it up for our local 361 Sports Talk. Coming up next, it's a sports grab bag. Baby Gronk? Maybe? We might. Who knows? Sports grab bag coming up next. Sunday Sports Rush, James, Aiden, and Alex with you. It's the last segment, 361-882-5397. Ryan L's in here. Ryan's commenting on the SEC. He says the SEC is staying at 8-game schedule upon welcoming Texas and Oklahoma. That's correct. Alex and Aiden talked about this last week in a very riveting segment. Yeah, they're staying at 8 games. Reportedly, Alabama and a bunch of them old SEC schools don't want to go to a 9-game schedule and have 3 fixed rivals a year. They instead want to try and avoid all the big schools and play all the weaker schools. It's a weak chump-ass move by Alabama and those other punks in the SEC, but what can you do?
Yeah,
what can you do?
Because Bama knows that they're not the team to be in the SEC anymore.
What can you do? Texas will play Texas A&M, though, and Texas will play Oklahoma, so that makes my Texas heart pretty happy.
This is in 2024, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This year, 2023, will be the last year that Texas and Oklahoma are in the Big 12.
Okay, when's the last year only 4 teams in the playoff?
This year.
So this coming season?
Is the last 4 year.
Okay.
4 teams. Starting in 2024, everything changes. 12-team playoff. Expanded SEC. Expanded Big 10.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter as much, just because, we'll probably see Bama and Georgia in the playoffs every year.
They'll be in the playoffs probably no matter what.
So,
I mean, we'll see what happens.
But this was during, the 4-person playoff. I would have even more of a grab about it. But,
so there we go. Sports grab bag, last segment. Vikings released Dalvin Cook after 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons. I heard you, Alex, talking last week during the NFL segment y'all did about potential teams who could fall out of the playoff race.
Yes.
The Vikings were mentioned in that list, and you were adamant that they would not fall out of the playoff contention. Does this move, releasing Dalvin Cook, change your mind at all? You still think they'll be playoff contenders?
I mean, we haven't really seen much from their backup, but for some reason, he always seems to be a guy that people hold on to in fantasy for some reason.
Madison?
Yeah, Alexander Madison. I'm not sure why that is, but
his stock shot up.
Yeah, a lot. And of course, they can always go out and bolster the running back room with other pieces in free agency, but could I see them missing the playoffs? Yes. Do I think they will? No.
Some of the top contenders for Dalvin Cook's services include the Dolphins and the Broncos.
I mean, every single running back that goes on the market seems to be wanted by Miami. They have so many running backs in that room.
Another fun story that occurred, well, not so fun for this person, but it's kind of funny in hindsight. Conor McGregor sent the Heat mascot to the emergency room after a halftime skit gone awry. Apparently, during halftime of Game 4, they had Conor McGregor come out there in Miami, beat up the Heat mascot, throw some punches. Well, apparently he's a trained fighter. He doesn't necessarily know how to pull punches, so to speak. He apparently injured this guy bad enough. He had to go to the ER. Oof. But the guy ended up leaving with some pain medication, and all's good.
That's good.
He's not going to get sued. Nothing like that. It was a big accident. Everybody acknowledges that. But Connor, bro, lay off the mascots, dog.
Got his ass whooped. God bless. He got his ass whooped.
He indeed did, Connor.
I mean, did he really? So this wasn't like a bit?
No, it wasn't a skit. The guy actually went to the ER.
Man, you know what?
The whole thing that they were doing was a skit.
Yeah.
When he fell back, the mascot, I don't know how much protection is in there. I've never been in a mascot outfit, but it was kind of a hard landing.
It was a bit gone bad, bit gone awry, and that's what happened. I know Alex wanted to kind of shout out the Lioness.
Yes. I think this is a perfect transition going from McGregor to Amanda Nunes. Amanda Nunes fought Irina Aldana at UFC 289 last night, and she hung it up. It was a bit of a surprise. I know for me specifically, there was rumors about it, but the Lioness, her run is over. The 2-division champion retires with a 23-5 record, has fought in title fights every time since 2016, 12 straight fights.
Insanity.
Title fights.
Hey, I think she did everything she could accomplish in the UFC.
I think she's done everything that any female fighter could accomplish.
And you know what? She also, during that run, absolutely dominant. Probably one of the best, probably the best women's fighter ever.
And it's not...
Without a doubt.
Yeah,
one of the best fighters, period, no matter your gender.
I think she is the greatest MMA fighter ever.
So
it's definitely up there.
And you know what? She also did face adversity. She lost to Juliana Pena, and she had to come back and win the title back. So, there was a moment in her career where she actually was defeated, but she did show heart of the champion and won the title back. So shout out to her, man.
And it's not like she's faced nobodies. I mean, when you look at the people she's fought and beat, these are some of the greats in women's UFC. Valentina Shevchenko twice. Jermaine Durandamy twice. I mean, these are some amazing names. Holly Holm. We're talking Miesha Tate, Ronda Rousey. These are all very well-known great fighters.
Yeah, so she's going to hang them up, and that's going to do it for her illustrious career.
And now there's just 2 vacant titles sitting there. Who knows who's going to be able to come for those? It's going to be a very quiet few fights for those titles. I don't think anybody can replace
the one thing I will remember about her, Amanda Nunes, is just how ferocious she was. How scary and intimidating she was.
Yeah.
In the octagon, just her aggression. When she saw blood, it was game.
Yeah, I still remember the fight when she knocked out Cyborg.
Oh my God!
Yes. And I still think that's the only time she's ever been knocked out, Cyborg. Yeah. And I was like, whoa. Obviously, I remember the memes that came from the Ronda Rousey fight.
Oh yeah.
For those who had a bad 2016, I was like, this is my 2016. It was just Ronda Rousey getting absolutely pummeled in the face by Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, she did beat the crap out of poor Ronda.
Who else is on that card, Alex?
On the UFC card from last night, probably the most notable fight was the Charles Oliveira fight. He came back after his recent loss and absolutely dominated. He was fantastic in that card last night. He faced Beneil Dariush. It was a great matchup, but Dariush just didn't have anything for him.
Yeah.
There we go. That's going to wrap up episode number 120 of the Sunday Sports Rush. We appreciate all of y'all listening out there. Thank you guys for doing that. And felt good to be back this morning. Shout out to Crossroads Clinical Research for sponsoring the show. Appreciate Jerry Plemons and company out there doing great things. Alex and Aiden, love you guys. Felt good to be back in the studio.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was fun. Fun times as always. Episode 121 will come at you next weekend. Same time, same place, right here, 9 a.m. on News Talk KEYS. All righty. That's going to do it. Hope everybody has a great rest of your Sunday. For Adin Ducker, Alex Weister, I'm James Espinosa. No more questions. We'll talk to you next week.